Welcome in, I'm Artris, and in this video we're going to be going over a brand new leader from PRB, which is the Premium Booster Set, which has a bunch of reprints all the way up until I think 05, maybe 06. I'm not sure, that's not really the point. The point being is we have a brand new leader, which came out of this PRB set. It's the only card that I think is a new card from that set. Very interesting. It's a red leader, 5 life, that says activate main once per turn. Up to one of your cost 8 or lower characters without an on-play effect gains rush until the end of this turn. That is a very interesting effect. There's a lot of cards out there that have when attacking, but obviously when there's a meta where Lucci dominates it, and if you have your characters standing upright, usually they're not going to be there at the start of your next turn. Having them have rush is very, very potent. However, I'm building this deck a little bit differently. There's a couple of different ways you can build it. I think the one way that is very strong is a control style build. However, this build is a little bit more just Unga Bunga, go straight to face, and have a lot of big bodies that your opponent can't really swing into. They're going to have other forms of removal to try to take care of the board. But before we go into the deck list, please make sure to drop a like and a sub. It helps out the channel immensely. I cannot thank you enough for the support. Additionally, if you'd like to talk about the One Piece card game outside of the YouTube comments, please make sure to join the Discord. The link is in the description below. And then finally, I started a Patreon recently, and there I am just going to be talking about like tournament reports, eventually probably do some extra video content there. But in the meantime, there's free tournament reports, or at least one free tournament report. So please make sure to check that out. Again, it's a free tournament Patreon report. The link is also in the description below. So as I mentioned, this leader is just giving everything 8 or below rush, anything that doesn't have an on-play effect, right? And so we're just trying to find really good bodies that have when attacking, but also strong stat lines. So actually vanillas are pretty good here. And I decided to go with more of a Whitebeard Pirates package. And so starting off, we have 2 Little Oris Jr., which is a Whitebeard Pirates allies. Once per turn, if this character would be KO'd by an effect, instead, you may trash an event or stage card from your hand. I'm not running too many events, so this effect doesn't really take place too often. It is a good card to use against any kind of black decks that have strong removal, but I'm only running 2 of these because I don't have that many events in total, running 6 events, as we'll get to in a bit. I'm running 4 of the 2-cost Sanji. This is a 2k counter. However, this is really strong in this deck because it's an activate main once per turn. You can add 1 card from your life area to your hand. Then this character gains plus 2,000 power. Then give this character up to 2 Rested Dawn cards. So you can play this down. This is actually a really strong play on your 3 Dawn turn, where you swing 6 with your lead, throw the Sanji down, use the Sanji ability. Now it's a 7k body, and you can give it rush. So then you can swing 6 and 7, and that will eat up an attack the next turn because your opponent will likely attack into this body. So this Sanji is actually a really good 2k that you would like to use as a body. Then I'm running 4 Atmos. This is a 4-cost 6,000 power vanilla Whitebeard Pirates. Once again, we're playing some good, strong, beefy stat lines. A 4/6 coming down with rush is really strong. And what's even stronger than that is Kingdu, a 5/7, that if you're going first, you'd love to see this on curve, of course, on your 5 Dawn turn, being able to swing 5 and then give a 5/7 body rush. One of the reasons why the 5-cost Ace is so strong in a lot of yellow builds is because it has a vanilla stat line plus pseudo rush. You have to be at 2 life or below, but with this leader, you don't have to worry about that. You can be at 4 or 5, whatever life you want to be at, play this down and give it rush. This Kingdu likely is sticking on the board. Your opponent's going to have to invest a lot of Dawn to swing into it. You can likely counter out of most hits coming at it. If they have, removal like Red Rock or Gravity Blade or in black, anything pretty much, then yeah, that could be a problem, but everything else will have to swing into it, which is going to be a tall task to do. And an even taller task than that is 6-cost Thatch, another Whitebeard Pirate, a huge body, 6-cost, 8,000 power body. This is monstrous, especially when it has rush coming at your opponent's face. In the good old days of when there were a bunch of Whitebeard mirrors, this card often won that mirror because of just the huge stat line, being able to swing naturally into the Newgate for 8,000. Being able to swing into a 5,000 power leader for 8,000 is even more terrifying, and then even more terrifying than that, on top of that, you're giving it rush. Yeah, Thatch for me is one of my favorite cards in this deck. There's a few cards that eclipse it. We'll get to those in a second, but Thatch is one of your MVPs, I would say. Then I'm running 4 Jozu. This is one that I will not use for the rush effect You can give it rush with your leader ability, but this is going to be a searchable 2K. Once again, Whitebeard Pirates is kind of the theme we're going for across the board. There's a fair amount of these Whitebeard Pirates in the deck. You could be running more, you could be running less, but you don't even have to run the Whitebeard Pirates package, but I think this package is pretty strong in this leader. So having searchable 2Ks with your Ezo searcher, which we'll get to in a second, is pretty good, I would say. You know, being able to find 2Ks is a very strong thing to do. Then I'm running 4 Marco. This is a blocker on KO. You may trash 1 card from your hand with Whitebeard Pirates and its type. If you have 2 or less life cards, play this character card from your trash rested. So a revivable blocker is very good. There are times where you will be low on life and your opponent will be threatening lethal, and this can just block out of any attack. It's like an infinite counter at that point. So Marco being able to revive himself by just pitching a Whitebeard Pirate, which we're running a fair amount of, as you can see, is a pretty easy thing to ask for. Then we're running 4 Ezo. This is your Whitebeard Pirate Searcher, just a 1-cost character that searches out the top 5 of your deck to find a Whitebeard Pirate. So anything that we've seen so far, it can find. This is one that you cannot give rush, though, if you are looking to do some kind of cheeky play at the end where you're like playing an Ezo and then you don't find anything and you want to give it rush. It has an on-play effect, so of course you're not going to be able to give it rush, so keep that in mind. Then we're running 4 Dragon. Now this is an on-play effect, but it already has rush, so it doesn't matter. The on-play effect is very good, being able to give 2 Rested Dawn up to a leader or a character. So this comes in handy if you are on an 8 Dawn turn and you want to pressure hard. You can put the 2 Dawn under a character that's already on the field, but most of the times your characters at that point will either be a Kingdu or a Thatch, so you really don't need to give them Rested Dawn. The Rested Dawn will likely go to your leader, so you can swing 7, maybe a 7 with the Kingdu or an 8 with the Thatch, and then a 9 with the Dragon. This is just a powerful red card, and so I think it needs a spot in this deck. A card that I think should be an auto include in this deck, whether you're building it more of the control variant or just the go face variant, is Wapol. This is a Dawn ×1 when attacking. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power for this turn, then give this character plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. This is great for trading into the board if you really need to, and the fact that it keeps that plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn is incredibly powerful because your opponent will likely not be able to trade into it as easily. It's essentially the same thing as the Thatch, but the Thatch giving a minus 2,000 power to something is even better. What could you ask for more than Thatch? A Thatch with an additional context in the text there, being really nice. Minus 2,000 power, plus 2,000 power. So yeah, love to see Wapol. I would like to probably build a little bit differently after this video and see if, you know, more of a control variant with like the Nico Robbins and I think Pell would be more suitable for this leader, but I really enjoy just going face a lot of the time. I gotta go fast, and I think that, you know, Wapol helps with that agenda. What also helps is the Zoro from starter deck 1. This is a Dawn ×1. This character gains 1,000 power. It's a 3-cost, 5,000 power body. This one was always typically weak as compared to the Rush Zoro because the Rush Zoro gets the immediate value, whereas this has to sit for a turn. Of course, the 1 Dawn underneath this gives it a permanent 1,000 power for the opponent's turn, which is very, very nice to be able to defend with, but giving it Rush, swinging for 7 very early on, and then being able to defend 6 very early on is also incredibly nice to see as well. So we're running 4 here. This might be a little bit too much because it doesn't have counter and it can clog your hand up at times, and we're not running 0-cost events as you see, so the cards in your hand are the cards you're going to have to deal with, but thankfully we're not running too many bricks in total. Looks like we're running about 14, 6 of those being counter events, which you can use later on in the game. And then we're running 2 Thatch, which is a new card from starter deck 15. This is an on-play if your leader has Whitebeard Pirates included in its types, which it doesn't, so the effect doesn't matter. I'm not going to read the rest. This is just a searchable 2K. And then we're running 4 of the Radical Beam from OPO1. This very simply is a 1-cost event that for the most part will be a plus 4,000 because if you have 2 or less life, it gains an additional 2,000 power during a battle, but if you need to use it earlier, if you're not at the 2 or less life threshold that this card usually requires you to be at for the full power, you can do a 1-cost plus 2,000 power. Don't advise it. I would hold on to these for late, but you can use it whenever you'd like. And then finally, to wrap it up, we are running 2 Diablo Jambe. Our leader is a Straw Hat Crew type, so it makes sense to be able to have a couple of these in the deck just to be able to give your leader that sneaky bypass the blocker text, you know. So everybody and their grandma, I swear to God, is playing too many blockers, so we need to be able to get past those blockers, and in order to do so, Diablo Jambe, folks. Overall, I think this leader is very much not tested enough, and I think that there's probably some better builds overall, but this is probably the first stab at a build I would like to try. I really do like this core Whitebeard Pirates package, being able to swing in for very strong stat lines very early on. Applying too much pressure could be a problem for your opponent. The one downside with this deck is that you do apply a lot of pressure so that your opponent does get a lot of cards and then probably accrues value over time. However, if 1 or 2 bodies stick past a turn, then a game can get really out of control for you in a good way, because then you have a King Do, for instance, that didn't get answered. Then you follow it up with like a Thatch, and then if those 2 stick on the board, everything else that comes down is probably going to be just a further nuisance and harder for your opponent to remove. So we love seeing the Whitebeard Pirates back in some kind of capacity, or at least I do. I don't know. People hated Newgate when he was meta, but I always thought that the Whitebeard package was pretty fun. But it doesn't matter what I think. Let's take it into the sim and see how it does. Just as a little forewarning, PRB is not legal, at least Sanji PRB is not legal in the OP08 side of the sim, so we will have to go into a few OP09 games and do a couple of custom games here and there, but overall, you should still get an idea of how the deck works. So I digress, let's take it into the sim and finally see how it does. All right, against Katakuri, I think that this is more of a favorable matchup for us because we are able to just have so many rush bodies, and we might be able to overwhelm the Katakuri, you know, barring any kind of triggers they might have in life. But we could play around those because we do give our units rush. So let's just go first and see if we can just throw as many bodies at Katakuri as possible and see what they can defend and what they can't. So I think I'm just going to swing 5 here and then actually throw down this Zoro and swing 5 with the Zoro. This Zoro is obviously better if it has a Dawn underneath it, but there's not really any other play I can make here other than maybe swing 8, and I don't really feel like just swinging 8. Maybe getting a couple of cards out of hand early is probably better than just having them guarantee take a hit. Yeah, so they counter out of a 1, or they counter out with 1, and then they counter out with a 2K on a 5 swing, which is very telling. Makes sense that they don't have a lot of 1Ks in hand at this point, possibly. So that's very good for us. Of course, the Zoro will go down. 7 into 5, I will not defend that. This next turn should be an easy, just swing 5 with lead. They'll likely defend it. If they don't, then that's good for us, but we can also see what they have in their hand. Maybe they don't have a 1K to give out, or maybe they're not wanting to give a 1K. If I were them and I had a Gedatsu, I might want to hold on to it. So we will throw down our King Do because they took the 1. We were going to throw it on King Do anyway, but, you know, it feels better knowing that they took the 1 and knowing that the 7 is coming to them. Let's see what they will do here. So, unfortunately, Nami trigger gets rid of the King Do. It does happen, but yeah, at least we got the swing in. You know, proper sequencing is always nice. In the following turn, what we can end up doing is swing probably 6 with leader, and then maybe swing 8 with Thatch. They're going very hard here, using the Onami to banish. I'm at 5 life. Banish, still even then, isn't that scary no matter what. I'm not going to get rid of cards to keep my life healthy. I might actually want to take this one because, you know, cards in hand are always good. I don't feel like going too low on my resources. So, yeah, let's just go and swing 5 because we are at 3. There's a potential we could be able to play Rad Beam here in the next turn and defend whatever they might throw at us. We'll go 5, the counter out, and then we'll go 8 with the Thatch. They will take that. There's no trigger that will KO a Thatch, thankfully. And this next turn likely will be a 7-cost Big Mom turn for them, and I actually think we just rip life. There's no need to give them life and prolong the game any longer than it has to be prolonged. So, perfect. 7 cost comes down. We rip the life, so we're both at 2. I'm, like, not nervous about this. I'll take this and go down to 1 life, and then I'll counter out of the Sparrow swing, because I'm not going to give them, you know, a free, oh, take my life. They have to earn it with the Big Mom, the 10-cost Big Mom the following turn. So the swing 7 we'll take, which is great for us because we get another Thatch off the top, and then we will counter out of this one. I don't think we need the Ezo here because we have the Thatch. That's probably one of our best plays. We could play the Dragon, but that doesn't really... I don't know. I feel like playing Thatch instead, to be quite honest, and are pressuring like 7, 8, 8. They counter out 3 cards in hand is pretty low for them, which, you know, is very telling that we might be able to push them to 0 here. Go and play the Thatch, give it Rush, and then we have the 1 up for Rad Beam. And they should go to 0. I don't know. They'd have to dump their entire hand to save themselves here. Let's see what they do. They're thinking about it, which means they might have the counter for it. Insane. Okay, 0-cost event plus a 2K counter. Wow, 1 card left in hand. It's probably 10-cost Big Mom. It has to be at this point, right? That's like their saving grace, and then just hope that I don't have the counter. for a 558. There she is. There's Big Mom. All right, so they'll swing 8 first. That's fine. We have the Rad Beam for the perfect counter to get out of it. We prepared for this, of course, and then we should be able to get rid or stay alive. Go like 1 with the Marco. I don't know if I want to get rid of the Wapple because, yeah, sure, it's a 1K counter, but it could also be a decent swinger. But also Dragon is a pretty good swinger as well. This is probably just them being like, oh, crap. You probably have it, don't you? Maybe trying to bait me to throw a counter out. That wasn't paying attention. Yeah, so I just kept my options open by dropping the 2K there. I think Dragon's probably better anyway. And this is a guaranteed 7 because they have 1 card left in hand. We just have to hope that they don't have triggers. They'll go 8. They have to get rid of 2 cards if that's the case. And this might be a 0-cost event or a beige. It's neither. Awesome. So then that's a guaranteed lethal with the 11 to face. So yeah, this is kind of how you have to play it against Big Mom. Just pressure them really hard and then ask for counter every turn. They stayed pretty healthy for a little while. And it was a little scary, but obviously Rad Beam helps at the end of the day. All right, going against Black Yellow Luffy, which is arguably the best deck in the format. I think it's the best deck in the format. Of course, there are a lot of people that don't know how to pilot it well, and it can be a very difficult and unforgiving deck to play. One mistake, and the game could be over. This is a leader that I typically, if I'm playing most decks, will just not swing too hard. Kind of just like poke them down a little bit, get them to a range where I will build up bodies and then can threaten a lethal with the bodies that I have on board before they awaken. But with Sanji, the whole point is just going face. So let's just go face as much as we possibly can. So we're going to throw down the Sanji 2K counter to kind of threaten a body throwing at them the next turn. So what we'll likely do is, I know this sounds weird, but I'm going to swing 5 lead, I'm going to swing 5 with the Marco blocker, and I'm going to swing 7 with the Sanji 2K. It's a lot of pressure coming at them. They'll go down to 1, maybe 2 life, depending on how they defend themselves here. But I think it's worth it because we have some bigger bodies with like the Thatch coming down later on, and some stuff that they can't answer very easily with their Rocket Luffy. So yeah, let's go ahead and give this Marco rush. See if they take it. They should counter out of this one if I were them. They just take it. That's fine. And they have a Rocket Luffy effect to get rid of the Sanji 2K blocker. Unfortunate, we did take a life off of that. Maybe we should have waited first to do so, because obviously the lower we go in life against Luffy and the longer the game goes on, the scarier it does get. They throw out a Hiyori to put... what could this be? If I were them and I had it, I would probably play a Rocket Luffy from life. They don't have it, so it's the Sabo. We're alive for a little bit longer. They'll just probably swing into the Marco blocker. I can't protect it because I'm at 3 life, and I'm not going to give up 2 cards for it, so that is all she wrote for that Marco blocker. Next turn, though, what we can do is just swing Thatch. There's no point in swinging lead because they're at 7K right now, so let's swing Thatch, which will be asking for a 2K counter from them. They'll likely give it. I don't know if they want to awaken quite yet. So that's good for us. We got a 2K out of hand. And the next turn, what we can end up doing, I imagine they might awaken this turn, although for some people this could be a little bit early, although I think this is probably a fine time to awaken if they had the opportunity to do so. They might not have the combo pieces though, but they're throwing a Hiyori into life, or throwing a Hiyori down to throw something into life. Who knows what it is? Who knows? But okay. they don't have anything to pop out of life, which actually is really good for us because that means we can pressure pretty hard this next turn. I need to keep this Thatch alive. I do not need this Thatch dying on me because we can go double Thatch and then have a Rad Beam up for the next turn. I think swinging 6 to ask for a 2K is pretty good here. See what they do. They just take it. That's very interesting. That means they have to block here. And because they blocked and got the Sabo out, I'm just going to swing 9 at face. And this is going to ask for a lot of cards from them. 3 cards to be exact. And then they'll be down to 3 in hand and then draw for the turn. Wow, they didn't have it. They didn't have it. They had enough for 8, but not enough for... What was the top life? They didn't have the combo pieces, which was a problem, of course. I guess Moria was the top life that they put there, but... yeah, this is one of those things where, like, Luffy is consistent the longer the game goes on, but if you don't see combo pieces at certain points in time, it is a little bit rough. They just didn't see it, unfortunately, so that's what it is. All right, we're going to go against Doflamingo. This is a tougher matchup for Sanji because Sanji doesn't spit out enough bodies compared to Doflamingo. I will take second and try this out. Now, I think that for Sanji, I would want to just smash face, but this is one of those things where they have so many bodies that they spit out per turn that it almost doesn't make sense to just blindly go at face because they can outrace you at that point. So you do have to swing into their bodies, at least ask for counter, and then have the bodies that you do play stick if possible. I know it's a hard, tall task to ask for, but we're going to try it out and see if that works. Maybe it's a wrong style of play. I could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure because every time I have played this matchup, it is rather tough to admit. So we'll swing 5 into the Mihawk, the 2K Mihawk. And it's a good thing that we drew the Atmos here because I would have played the Marco and swung the Marco blocker. Not the best use there, but yeah, they let it go, which is good for us because that's one less body we have to worry about, but we are a little bit low on life. If Doflamingo is, you know, halfway decent, I probably would just imagine they would have ignore my board and just go for my face and pressure me down because they win the race, I think, at the end of the day. They're at 5 life, I'm at 4 already, right? And this body is easily defendable for me, but a 7 to lead is not as. I have to drop a couple cards because I don't want to be inputting range for them. So let's swing 5, bait out a block. If they don't block, then that's good for us. That means that they might just counter out of another one of these attacks, or maybe just take the thatch. Looks like they're going to take the thatch here, so that's good for us. The worst thing that we can see here is like a gravity blade, because on 7, getting rid of these 2 bodies would be really rough. Unfortunately for us, Sanji doesn't necessarily excel at putting out a lot of bodies. They are good at putting out 1 body a turn, and like I said, if you can stack that up over turns, that's really good. But unfortunately, if they do have an answer, like a gravity blade to get rid of the thatch and the Atmos, then we're in trouble. Okay, so they're swinging the Hancock here. I'm going to check to make sure this is a 3 or less blocker. So yeah, that's what the Jambe trigger does. It KOs a 3 or less blocker. A lot to bounce back my Atmos. Let's just go ahead and get rid of it because I don't think we're going to play it again. We can play the Wapple the next turn. And let's pressure their face. No, let's pressure their bodies with the Wapple. This is where, like, they have so many cards in hand, they might be able to defend it. Kind of hard to see, or kind of hard to tell, rather. Let's go ahead and swing 9 into 5, reduce the Hancock by -2. Let's swing 6 into 4, ask for 2 cards out of hand. They'll likely give us 2 cards here. And then we can swing 8 into 4 if it's still alive, or just swing 8 into their face. Yeah, they had a pudding ready to go. Thought so as much. But now we're in a little bit of a pickle here because we don't have any 2Ks. We are going to probably have to take 2 7s, which is going to put us in a really precarious spot because then that means we cannot take another hit. If they have their Jambe of their own was a perfume femur, then we're in a little bit of trouble for sure. So let's see what they do. I would imagine if I were them that obviously they're going to be swinging 7 with lead to get the leader effect off. They might swing 6 with the Weevil. They might go 6 first, which is troublesome for me because I don't have any 2Ks. I'm not going to drop 2 1Ks to stay alive, right? Okay, so it's 7. Awesome. Is it another 7? It could just be a 9. It might just be a 9. Yeah, just a 9. Okay. Yeah, definitely not countering out of that. Let's try to answer these Weevils the best we can. I don't feel too good about this, but obviously this is the problem with playing against Doflamingo. If you're trying to play for board, it can be very hard to do so. The thought process here is we're going to swing 9 into 6 and reduce this Weevil. Now, we could reduce the other Weevil as well. Maybe that's better here, but I want this Boa to not get like a free block off either. Which they let the Weevil go. They let it go. Unfortunate. So we swing 6 into lead and we swing 8 into lead. And then we have to hope that they don't block her up too much, which they might just keep the Hancock that they have right here standing. That might make sense. Gravity Blade. No, see, this is a good time, I guess, for them to use it because I could be threatening lethal the next turn. Getting those 2 bodies, the Wapples, off the field. Very strong for them. Let's go ahead and just use the Rad Beam. Now, if they want to be really cheeky, they could use this Teach effect and put 2 under their Hancock and swing 8 at lead. And that puts me in a really bad spot because I have blockers, of course. But if I, can't even use them with their femur, then yeah, that's what, oh my God, they're doing it. They have exactly what they need. This is Really good for them. Unfortunate for us, but really good for them. I think what's best for us is if we just swing 5 into this teach. Wow. Okay, so the counter out, I mean, I guess as many bodies as possible is good for them. Go 10 here. Let's throw down a Zoro, give it rush, and then swing 7 into the teach. Just clear the body, and then throw down a Marco, and then hope that they don't have it. They have it. Okay, well, GG. They played it very well. Unfortunate for us, but yeah, it is what it is. This matchup's pretty tough. Nami Swan! All right, let's go. We're going against Nami. I don't know how this matchup is, to be quite honest, and this is definitely an OP09 Nami build. Most of the Nami builds are actually pretty similar from OP09 to OP08. The only key difference is I think they're adding in a Nami character, which basically says that on attack, you can find a blue event in your top 5, I believe. So that's the only new addition that I can think of to Nami. So for the most part, this should be the same. Let's swing 6. Let's talk about this combo that I mentioned in the intro. We're going to swing 6 into lead. They do counter out with the Spada, and they probably aren't expecting a second attack coming through. And that's where we're going to go and throw down the 2K Sanji and then rush in for 7. And the 7 rush with the 2K Sanji should be connecting at least. I don't think that there's a world where this is countered out. So 7 into 5, they'll take it here. And let's see, no trigger. And Sanji's peel off right off the top. Okay, great. Love it. Hope that's tasty for you. So they decide to actually not swing into this Sanji 2K, which is actually really good for us. So let's swing 5 into lead. Let's throw the King Do down and swing 5 with the King Do. So they counter out with a gavel, so +4, and then trash 2 cards from the top. We'll rush in with a King Do. They'll probably block here. I imagine they might block. Or they might block the second one. I guess it really doesn't matter which one they block. Does it matter? I don't think it does. A Snake Dance. Oh my god. What a good trigger. Bounce the Kaya back to hand and likely bounce the Sanji. They could bounce the King Do, but it already swung. And they probably just want to stop a second attack from coming through. That's fine. Yeah, that's okay. 2K back into hand. We're going to rip life, which you kind of want to do against Nami and see as many cards as possible, but kind of unlucky trigger for us. They've gotten 2 triggers off the top of life, which have been very beneficial for them. They're going to be able to play the Kaya again. Trash 2. We see a Snake Dance and a Love being trashed. If they trash a Snake Dance, especially against a deck like Red, usually means that they have more in hand. So let's be wary of that, although there's not really any interaction in our deck, so I guess it doesn't really matter if they have it or not. Swing 7. They decide to block that one, which means they might not have enough counter. I don't know. That kind of is a weird block there. I would imagine that they might have counter to be able to get out of these 7K attacks, but yeah, 7 is also very annoying for Nami because if they have the 1-cost events, it has to be Gavel, you know. So this one, probably a 2-cost event to be able to bounce, yeah, Kaya. So they have the Snake Dance, like I mentioned. Bounce the Kaya back to hand. That is 3 Snake Dances altogether, so only 1 left in the deck, which is very good for us to know, because if they throw this Kaya down, that means that, well, there's only 1 more that we have to really play around. So it's good for us. I don't think they'll swing into anything here, because that would require Dawn for them to do so. They don't want to use their Dawn in a proactive way, rather, so it's fine for us. This next turn, we're going to be on 9 Dawn. So let's swing 7. We can swing 3 7s and then a 9 with the dragon. So that's really very strong for us to be able to do. Let's go 7 at lead. And this one is likely going to be a... Oh, Snake Dance. Like I said, okay, there's the last Snake Dance. Don't have to worry about it anymore. That's all 4 Snake Dances. And they have the Kaya coming down next turn, but they are at 2 life and 19 cards left in deck. Really tough for them to come back from this spot because we have applied a lot of pressure and we have some big bodies coming at them every turn. Of course, they go double peel off into the Kaya that we know that they had in hand, dropping 2 Impel down All-Stars. Very good targets for Kaya to drop, of course. So this turn, I think we just swing pretty heavy where we can. Let's see if we can get like a Thatch off the top. We don't get it. We do get the King Do, though, so King Do's not bad. I just didn't like playing the Atmos here, to be quite honest. I wanted something that just naturally swung 7 or higher. So, yeah, we used 1 Dawn. The argument is like, oh, the Dawn you used to search with the Ezo could have been used on the Atmos, but oh well. So we'll swing 7 with the King Do. We'll swing 7 with the Zoro. There's that Nami. We see the new Nami into the trash, another Kaya into the trash. They don't have too many more left in their deck, at least, but also they might not have too many Kayas left either. So 7, no trigger, please. No trigger, please. Please, no trigger. Since they took that 7, I'm almost inclined to swing 9 with this dragon. And if they take this 9 with the dragon, then I think we just swing all out with the leader. I actually think that's a potential way to maybe close the game out if they don't have the counter here. I think they realize that too. They realize there's a potential lethal on board if this dragon attack goes through, so maybe they're thinking about countering out here. Gavel, and they have to give me one more card. And the Nami. Okay, cool. Let's swing probably 7, right? I think 7's probably fine. Hopefully this can go through. I doubt it will. They might just be able to counter out of this one. Rubber band along with an Opus. So I don't think we even swing with this Kingdu, to be honest, because if this Kingdu, you know, getting him to 0, what does it really matter? Getting him to 0 now or getting them to 0 the next turn? I think that if there's a potential trigger in this life that gets them further into their deck and maybe see some pieces that they are looking for, that could be a problem. And I don't want that for them. And so we can close out the game potentially next turn using correct swings. They have 3 cards in hand. I think they don't have too many cards left in deck. Maybe like 13 or so left in the deck. Let's go 9. Just 9 first. Oh, so they have 9 left in the deck. Oh, worse than I thought. They do take it. And it was a trigger. Okay. I'm glad we didn't swing then, because that could have helped them get further into the deck and maybe see some pieces that they needed. So we'll go 7. I think we just swing 9 from here on out if we can. Go 9 into 5. They have a snake dance that makes the math a little bit more awkward, but they don't have it. So they give us... Oh, they have 1 card left in hand. Let's swing 10. I guess we could go 9-10 instead. That's the better math would have been 9-10, but yeah, it gets us there regardless. Yeah, this matchup's pretty good for us, I think, because we can just continuously like pressure them with bodies every turn, and we can build up a board, but also have that board rush in. So yeah, I think Nami is a pretty good matchup for us. I really do enjoy this Sanji. I think that there is probably a better list to be made here, but I think this is a good start. Like I said, the Whitebeard Pirates package is pretty strong just because of the base stat line for a lot of these cards. Of course, Doflamingo might be a difficult matchup for you. I think Lucci could be either way. It just depends. Some of these bodies like Kingdu coming in and getting the value immediately by swinging is very good overall. But of course, you know, Lucci can answer a lot of these bodies. And if you are going turn after turn and they're answering your bodies and you don't have anything to show for it, that could be a problem. That is why we're running Jambe. We didn't come across any Lucci though in the sim, which I wanted to be able to showcase that, but it's okay. I think what we end up doing is probably test a little bit more with this deck. There's a pretty good control style version of this that Kai has put out on his YouTube channel, so I'd recommend checking that one out. We might cook with that one a little bit and see if that can lead us anywhere, but I do like at least starting off with this Whitebeard Pirate package. I think it's pretty strong, and hopefully, you know, you guys take it into consideration and play it as well. Let me know how it goes. Let me know how you build Sanji, because there's different ways to build it, of course. Would love to hear you guys. Let me know in the comments below, and thank you guys, as always, for watching and support. See you in the next video.